Disassemble the high-pressure pipe and connections according to procedures 9081 and 9082. See also safety precautions on datasheet 1082. Remove the protecting caps from the studs. Mount the hydraulic tool on the studs in accordance with procedure 9131. Increase the pressure as outlined in datasheet 1082. Remove the hydraulic tool and nuts. Lift the valve away from the engine and place it on wooden planks. Disassemble nuts and safety handle from the oil cylinder. Remove the oil cylinder. Pressure from the air cylinder is released. Use a screwdriver to press in the non-return valve ball. Remove the non-return valve. Use a diagonal cutter to remove the safety thread from the 4 bolts on the top flange. Remove the bolts and the flange. Use a tin hammer to hit the piston into the air cylinder, after which the cone rings can be removed. Fit the oil cylinder on the valve housing and remove the valve housing from the spindle. Remove the locking bolts from the bottom piece. Remove the valve housing from the bottom piece. If the bottom piece binds, a tin hammer can be used to loosen it. Fit your lifting tool onto the piston. Remove the piston from the air cylinder. Fit 2 eye bolts into the air cylinder. The air cylinder can now be removed from the valve housing. Clean the guide bushing and valve housing. Inspect the guide bushing for wear by measuring the diameter at the top and bottom. Tolerances can be seen on the 108.2 datasheet in Volume 2 of the instruction manual. If measurements go above the permitted tolerances referred to in the datasheet, the guide bushing must be replaced. Remove the bolts from the guide bushing. Remove the guide bushing from the valve housing. Fit O-rings in the new guide bushing. Insert the 4 bolts and fit the new guide bushing in the valve housing. Inspect and evaluate the bottom piece according to Volume 1, Supplement 70703 of the instruction manual. Remove and destroy the O-rings. Thoroughly clean the bottom piece. Use the templates from the tool panel as well as the feeler gauge blade to check for bottom piece wear. See tolerances in datasheet 108.2. If the bottom piece is worn more than allowed in the datasheet, it must be replaced. Grind the outer seat of the bottom piece if necessary. Use Carborundum 200 and the special grinding tool from the tool panel. Turn the tool in both directions. Thoroughly clean the bottom piece. Heat the U-sealing ring in 100-degree hot water for about 5 minutes. Immediately fit the ring on the bottom piece. Use the oil cylinder to lift the valve housing. Place the valve housing on the bottom piece. Then fit the locking bolts on the bottom piece. Inspect and evaluate the valve spindle and valve seat according to Volume 1, Supplement 7073 of the Instruction Manual. Fit the lifting tool on the top of the valve spindle. Lift up the spindle. Use the template tool from the tool panel. Check that wear on the valve seat does not exceed the permitted amount as shown in Datasheet 108.2 in Volume 2 of the Instruction Manual. Check the valve spindle for wear. Use a vernier caliper. Measuring points and permitted tolerances can be seen in Datasheet 108.2 and Procedure 9082 in Volume 2 of the Instruction Manual. Fit the valve spindle in the valve housing. Use the oil cylinder to lift the housing. Detach the safety valve from the air cylinder. Clean the air cylinder with compressed air. Fit the safety valve in the pressure testing equipment. Check the aperture pressure. See Datasheet 108.2. If the aperture pressure is not correct, loosen the locking nut. Use a screwdriver to adjust to the correct aperture pressure. Check the aperture pressure again. Fit a new gasket and O-ring on the safety valve. Tighten to the correct torque, as in Datasheet 108.2. Fit the air cylinder on the valve housing, taking care not to damage the O-rings on the guide bushing. Thoroughly clean the air piston. Check the Teflon ring and the O-rings and replace them if necessary. Prior to fitting the new Teflon rings, they must be heated in 100-degree water for about 5 minutes before fitting inside and outside the air piston. Fit the Teflon rings from the 100-degree water. Fill the air cylinder up to its draining hole with clean lubricating oil. Place the cone ring on the air cylinder. Screw the lifting tool onto the piston and place it on top of the cone ring. Use a hammer and a piece of wood to hammer the piston into place in the air cylinder. Remove the cone ring. Fit the non-return valve on the air cylinder. Fit the two conical locking rings. Insert compressed air through the non-return valve to lift up the piston. Fit the flange at the top of the air cylinder. On valve models in which the bolts are constructed to be secured using locking thread, lock the nuts as in procedure 9137 in volume 2 of the instruction manual. Loosen the bolts and remove the lifting arrangement. Remove and clean the orifice plug. Discard the sealing ring. Place the oil cylinder in a horizontal position. Detach the piston's locking flange. Detach the piston. Detach the piston rings. Check the piston rings for wear as in datasheet 1082 in Volume 2 of the instruction manual. Replace the O-ring in the cylinder. Check the lining diameter as in datasheet 1082 in Volume 2 of the instruction manual. If the lining is worn above the permitted amount, the cylinder must be replaced or sent to an authorized MAN diesel workshop for overhaul, depending on the model. Fit the O-ring. After cleaning, the piston rings are fitted on the piston. The piston rings are marked with the top position and must be placed correctly. Fit the piston in the cylinder. Secure the piston with the locking flange. Raise the oil cylinder upright. Fit a new sealing ring. Fit the orifice plug. Fit the lifting arrangement and tighten according to datasheet 1082. Fit the oil cylinder on the top of the air cylinder. Fit the safety handle and tighten to the correct torque, as in datasheet 1082. Place the overhauled exhaust valve on the engine. Tighten the nuts. Mount the hydraulic tool on the studs. See procedure 9131. Tighten according to datasheet 1082. Remove the hydraulic tool and mount the protective caps. Assemble the high-pressure pipe and connections. See procedure 9082.